The kick came first sharp, sudden, and cruel, sending 14-year-old Marisa Keene's wheelchair jolting sideways on the wooden planks of the bright, crowded Santa Monica Pier. The sun glared off the ocean, families laughed around her. But all she heard was the hateful shout that split the air like a blade. Move. Cripple. The two boys behind her snickered as one delivered another shove to her chair, her small frame trembling as she struggled to steady herself. People glanced over, then looked away. The world kept moving while she stayed stuck, literally, between fear, humiliation, and the rising sting of tears. If you believe kindness still matters, that courage deserves a second chance, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Touch of Kinness. Truly helps these stories reach more hearts. Marisa had been born with a condition that weakened her legs, but she never let it weaken her spirit. Her mother had pushed her outside into the sunshine that day, encouraging her to enjoy the salty breeze and bright morning sights. But as soon as her mom stepped away to grab lemonade, those boys, one tall with a shock of uncombed blonde hair, and the other wider with a heavy backpack slung low, had spotted her alone. It took them less than a minute to circle her like hyenas. She tried rolling away, but the uneven boards caught her wheels, and fear stole her breath. She kept imagining falling, being stuck on the ground, helpless and humiliated while people stared. When the taller boy kicked her chair again, the force made her backpack slip off the handles, and her sketchbook spilled open on the pier. Pages fluttered into the breeze, covered in delicate drawings of ocean sunsets and seabirds she dreamed of seeing more closely. Laughed at them, laughed at her. Marisa's throat tightened. She wanted to scream for help, but the words froze. Then the pier changed. It started with the distant rumble, at first, then growing like thunder rolling across wooden beams. People turned their heads. A line of motorcycles approached from the far end, sunlight gleaming off chrome. At least 20 riders, maybe more. They weren't speeding or showing off. They moved with quiet purpose, engines humming like a warning. Marisa looked up just as the boys backed a step, confused by the sudden shift in atmosphere. The bikers rolled to a stop around Marisa, not trapping her, but shielding her, forming a human wall of leather and metal. The leader stepped off his bike, a broad-shouldered man with dark sunglasses and a braided beard streaked with silver. A leather patch on his vest read Pacific Guardians. His name, as stitched beneath it, was Rogan Hale. He knelt beside Marisa, his voice calm but firm as he asked if she was all right. Marisa nodded shakily, gripping her sketchbook. Behind Rogan, the other bikers remained silent but watchful. The boys who had bullied her suddenly looked very small, their bravado shrinking under the weight of 20 steady stares, muttered something and tugged the other's sleeve, urging him to leave. They tried to slip away, but a woman biker with auburn hair simply stepped aside and gestured for them to run past the group. Her eyes tracked them until they vanished into the crowd, cheeks burning red with fear and shame. Rogan picked up Marisa's fallen sketches, smoothing the bent corners before handing them back. He told her gently that anyone who could draw something so full of hope had a strong heart. The words cracked something inside her, pain but relief. Another biker, a soft-spoken man named Jarrow, crouched beside her and adjusted the wheel that had been knocked slightly out of line. Marisa blinked, overwhelmed by how strangers were treating her with more care in minutes than some people had in years. Her mother returned moments later, breathless and panicked, only to stop in astonishment at the protective circle surrounding her daughter. When she learned what happened, her eyes glistened. She thanked the bikers, her voice breaking. Rogan shook his head. He said kindness didn't need thanks, just continuation. Together they walked Marisa and her mother down the pier, clearing space gently so she could roll without struggle. People watched with awe, filming, whispering, realizing that compassion could be as powerful as any engine. Near the end of the boardwalk, Marisa looked up at Rogan and asked why they stopped to help. Rogan simply pointed to her sketch of the ocean, a drawing still trembling in her hands, said, "Because the world needs more of what you see." If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and comment to help others feel the power of compassion. Engagement truly lifts these stories.